So good evening, everyone. So again, happy to meet you all this evening. Today we are having a very interesting person. Till now, we have been talking only about diseases, how to treat the diseases. For the first time, we are having how to maintain the health, how to tell about the fitness, how to prevent disease by improving the fitness level. And for today's show, we are having Dr. Vinod Nathaniel. He's a practicing ophthalmic surgeon since 2010. He's a swimmer, runner, cyclist, and an endurance builder. He's a certified ISSA personal fitness trainer who has got training from California. And he has been guiding doctors and common public with fitness since 2005. So he's from a hometown, Trichy, and he's working at the Gift of Eye Hospital. He has participated in 4 official marathons and several ultra marathons. Yeah, and his most covered distance in running is 187 kilometers over 13 hours. And he has done a full marathon distance of 4 kilometers swim, 180 kilometers cycling, and 42 kilometers of running in 15 hours and 55 minutes. He has been a personal inspiration for me. And
Thank you.
in the course of my career, like 5 years, 6 years, I've been constantly putting on weight. This lockdown, this corona lockdown, helped me to focus on what is more important and gave me a lot of time to have a good insight of myself and my future, and see him doing a lot of cycling, running on Facebook and Instagram. And he's in 40s now. So I made my mind, when I'm touching 40, I should be someone who's very fit, someone who is very athletic. And so I used to like think, okay, we should do like this, like this. So his work, along with several others from the group called as Doctors and Fitness on multiple Facebook groups, has been a very constant source of motivation for me. And he's also done a free ebook, No Bullshit Fitness. Just go to the website over there, getfitwithnats.com, and you can also follow him on his Facebook handle, Insta handle, and YouTube. We are also live on Insta also. So if you're watching somewhere, just go to Instagram, search for Gift of Fitness, Dr. Velocity, Dr. Vinod, Dr. Natesh Prabhu. You can purchase on Insta. You can view us over there also. We are live on Docplexus. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. This is all about fitness. You can ask your questions anywhere where you're watching the show, on my WhatsApp, on the Insta, on Facebook, anywhere you watch. Just bring us what is the questions you're going to ask. He's going to bust a lot of bits about fitness, because everyone talks about weight loss. He talks about fat loss. This is what I also believe in. That is, don't focus on weight loss. During my journey of weight reduction, I never concentrated on the weight loss. I never measured my weight. I was only focusing on the endurance building. The fat automatically got reduced, and I became fit. I started running even marathons, 5K, 10K, 15K, and doing a lot of high intensity interval training. So this is being a constant source of motivation for me, and I want you all to be fit, to be healthy. And for today's show, it's very pleasure to have Dr. Vinod. Welcome, sir. Please go on with the show.
Thank you, Doc.
And yeah, we're looking forward to the show, sir. Thanks.
Right. So, good evening, guys. I'm Dr. Vinod, for those who don't know me. As Dr. Natesh said, I am a practicing consultant in Gift of Sight Eye Hospital. And I've been into fitness from my younger days in school, but there was a gap in between. But I caught up. As soon as I joined college, I started getting back into fitness again. I started hitting the gym, and I started getting fit. I also started running in college, and that was around 2001 or 2002. So let's go on to the presentation. One. Right. They already gave a short introduction about me. So I've been swimming since 1987. I've been lifting weights since 2002, and I've got the certification from ISSA in 2015 to train clients. I've also been guiding doctors ever since my MBBS days, and also common public later on. And now I'm currently settled in Trichy. And going on to an introduction about this seminar. This seminar is for beginners who want to lose a few extra. And we also used by athletes and bodybuilders, runners, cyclists, and anyone who's interested in endurance training, those who want to get a six-pack, those who are just looking to lose weight, even beginners in fitness will benefit from this presentation. And of course, those who want to maintain fitness as they grow older. So that's something that's commonly overlooked. So as you grow older, you should definitely be fit, because if you see the average expenditure of diabetic would normally be around 50,000 per year or so, in worst case scenarios. So you already know that you have an illness in the family. So you have to put a little effort to be fit, so that your expenditure will go down. At least if you're not doing it for happiness, at least do it for reduced expenditure towards disease. So what is fitness? So fitness, what does it represent? So to some it may mean having a six pack. For some it may mean lifting 200 kgs on bench press. For swimmers and sprinters, it may mean a new timing in their 100-meter race or whatever. So different people have different meanings for fitness, but the basic definition of fitness is to be able to perform your daily activities without any difficulty. And if you want to improve on those activities, you should be able to do it easily. So that's the essence of fitness. So if you're able to do that, then it means you're fit. So for example, if you go to work and like me, you have a desk job and you see around 40 patients a day, I normally get up a lot and go out and do different tests in different rooms. I sometimes have to climb the ramp. So if I have any difficulty while climbing the ramp, if I have any breathlessness while doing so, that means I'm not that fit, and I need to be a little fitter to perform better in my work. So if you are experiencing any dizziness or breathlessness while you're walking or climbing, or when you're shifting rooms, then it means probably overweight, or probably have some kind of an illness that is restricting your movements, and it's better to be fit. Um, Start with normal exercises like walking. As long as you don't have any joint pain or back pain, you can start with walking and see where it takes you. So let's start this presentation with nutrition basics. The nutrition is basically the study of food, its nutrients, and the way they influence the way our bodies work. And a calorie, let's not get into the technical definition of a calorie, but basically what a calorie means is it's a standard unit that you use to express energy. Like you express length in centimeters, then you express energy in calories. It's that simple. So if you want to express unit of energy that is burned, or whatever unit of energy that you're taking in, you can express it in the form of calories. And what is basal metabolic rate? So you have to understand this term first, because this is the minimum amount of energy that you need to sustain life. So you burn calories even when you're sleeping or when you're resting. So to sustain life, you need a basic amount of calories, and that is what is called the basal metabolic rate. And before we go into further into calories, let's talk about macronutrients. You've all heard about macros in your food. So these can be divided into carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So carbohydrates, usually 1 gram of carbohydrate gives 4 kilocalories. Proteins, the same thing. 1 gram of protein gives 4 kilocalories of energy. But 1 gram of fats, you'll be surprised, 1 gram of fats gives 9 kilocalories of energy. And that is one of the best secrets that you can use in fat loss. Many people, they avoid fats thinking it's bad for health, and instead they have a lot of carbohydrates. So that's where you're going wrong. Fats are more important than carbohydrates to lose weight. We'll get into that later. So I think most of us would know, we've been studying from school, sources of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates, common sources include simple sugars, bread, rice, etc. And proteins, common sources of proteins and vegan protein sources include beans, nuts, and soya, paneer, and flaxseed, and all that. So all those are common sources of proteins, and even milk. Fats, of course, found in eggs also have a lot of protein and fat. Fats are found in eggs, milk, and non-veg sources. Of course, proteins also are found in non-veg sources, and fats are also found in non-veg sources. So whenever you consume meat, you're basically having both protein and fats. The types of carbohydrates, as we saw already, the sources of carbohydrates, we can divide them into simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. So this may sound very difficult to understand, but it's actually very easy. So as soon as you take in carbohydrates, if they immediately spike your blood glucose levels, these are called simple carbohydrates. This, for example, sugar, refined sugar. As soon as you take it in, your blood sugar level will spike. So If anybody is dizzy because of low blood glucose, you can immediately give them sugar and they'll feel better. So that is an example of a simple carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrates, on the other hand, they increase the blood glucose level slower. So for diabetics, the sugar level should not increase much. So for these kind of people, you can start them on a complex carbohydrate diet and reduce the number of simple carbohydrates that they take. So examples of complex carbohydrates include beans, millets, wheat, etc. And types of fats. So there are many ways of classifying fats. I have not given the typical classification, but I've given something that is easy to understand. So this can be divided into HDL cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. HDL is basically good fat. And this, what happens is, whenever we take any source of fat, this is converted into HDL or LDL inside the body. So what types of fat are converted into HDL? Mostly these include eggs and fats from fish, lean meat, moderate amount of nuts and butter. LDL, and on the other hand, fats that are converted to LDL or bad cholesterol include fats from red meat like beef or mutton, and also deep fried foods. There's also something called trans fats. So whatever we discussed so far, the saturated HDL and LDL fats are all natural fats, whereas trans fats are totally artificial fats, and these are man-made. So obviously, we don't need those kind of fats in our diet. And these sort of trans fats come in most of the fast foods that we have these days, including cakes, cookies, pizza, fried chicken, right? All the wonderful items that we love to eat. All of these things have trans fats. So try to avoid sources of trans fats. You can have other sources of fats such as nuts and lean meats, eggs, even milk. So all these are good sources of fats, and as long as they are consumed at the right quantities, your blood cholesterol or the total amount of cholesterol in your body will not be elevated. Right. So let's go into micronutrients. Micronutrients include minerals and vitamins. So as we studied in school, these can be divided into fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins, and of course there are also minerals. These are common sources of minerals. Beans have calcium, magnesium, iron, phosphorus, manganese, copper, and zinc. Eggs contain iron, phosphorus, zinc, and selenium. Milk and dairy products and spinach have calcium. Bananas and green leafy vegetables have potassium. Common salt, of course, has sodium. Millets and quinoa have magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, zinc, and copper, and manganese. So the basic function of minerals is that they play an important role in the functioning of all systems: energy production, electrolyte, and kidney function. And of course, water. Without mentioning water, the whole essence of fitness is incomplete, because without water, we are sure to die. And since the body has 70%, is 70% of the body is consists of water, you definitely need a lot of fluids in your regular diet. And the general rule of thumb is to at least have 3 to 4 liters of water for anybody who's weighing above 60. That is, if you can drink that amount of water. Don't force yourself. Try to increase the amount of water you have slowly. Like take it in sips initially, and try to get accustomed to taking more water. Instead, in case you're having just 1 liter a day or less than 2 liters a day, try to slowly increase your water intake. If you are finding it difficult, you can even set an alarm on your phone, like every 1 hour or 1.5 hours, and you can have a sip, right? Till you get the habit. And next, let's discuss about how we can calculate macros from calories. So most of the time, whenever we talk about calorie counting or counting of macros, people think that we are going overboard. But in this generation of fast foods, and when people are using more gadgets to do their work, I think calorie counting is necessary, and counting of macros is definitely necessary. Otherwise, we will definitely be shifting towards diseases like diabetes and cardiac disease. So to understand macros, let's go back to the basic. I already told you that 1 gram of carbohydrates gives 4 kilocalories. 1 gram of protein gives 4 kilocalories, and 1 gram of fat gives 9. So if you take around 2000 calories a day, out of which 1000 calories comes from carb, then 1000 divided by 4, because 1 gram carb gives 4. So 1000 divided by 4 gives you the amount of carbohydrates that you need. That's 250 grams. The above principle applies for finding the grams of protein also. So, okay, so that's all you have to do is divide the number of calories by 4, and you'll get the amount of protein. And if you are going to have 300 calories out of this 2000 from fats, then remember that fats give 9 kilocalories so per gram. So you have to divide 300 by 9, and you will have the amount of fat. So now let's go into BMR, he already told you that BMR is the number of calories that you burn while you're sleeping or when you're resting, and this is the minimum amount of calories that you need to sustain life. So most of us, what we do is we feel that there is no reduction of body weight, and then we start starving ourselves. So when we start starving ourselves, the body starts adapting to it. Or either that happens, or your body goes into destruction mode, because the minimum amount of calories you need to sustain life is your BMR. So you should at least have that amount of calories. So below is the link where you can calculate your BMR. And for those who are viewing this on Insta, I tell you the link calculator.net/BMR-calculator.htm. So you can go here and calculate your BMR. All you have to do is enter your age and sex and a few other details, and the calculator will calculate how much of calories you need to sustain life. So there's a common problem in distinguishing between BMR and TDE, because both sound similar. BMR is basically what you need at rest, whereas TDE is the amount of calories that you need to perform your daily activities. So if you take me, I go to clinic every day and I go for a run, a short run daily. So the amount of calories that are consumed that I use during the run commonly comes to around 400 to 700. So I need to take those calories also in my food along with my BMR. And through work, I might usually burn around a maximum of 150 to 200 calories, not much, because I sit at work most of the time. So totally we have around 900 calories extra to add to my BMR. That is your TDE, total daily expenditure. The basics of health and fitness. Fitness involves being of sound mind, body, and spirit. And we won't be dealing with those components here. We'll just be discussing about physical fitness. The components of physical fitness include endurance, flexibility, strength, and hypertrophy. So what happens is, people who go to the gym, they'll be concentrating more on hypertrophy, that is muscle mass. So when they concentrate more on muscle mass and strength, most of us, when we go to the gym, we forget about endurance and we forget about flexibility, especially in our youth. So we forget about warm up, we forget about warm down, we forget about stretching. So all this is necessary. So these are the components of basic health and fitness. So you have to be able to withstand activities that sustain you over a long duration of time. And flexibility, at least you should be able to bend over and tie your shoes without feeling breathless. So a certain amount of flexibility is required in our daily life. And strength, of course, we need strength to lift objects and move objects. Sometimes we may need to move furniture in our house. And if your car or your bike breaks down, you may need to push your vehicle. So all this requires strength. Hypertrophy is purely optional. And if you want to, you can build your muscles by going to the gym. And that's purely a different kind of sport, which is also encouraged and which is also necessary. Most of the time, when you train for strength, you will have a certain amount of muscular hypertrophy. So coming to one of my favorite sections is about body composition. So most of us, we measure fitness by the amount of weight that we see on the scale. So for example, a muscular man and an obese man may both have the same weight and the same height. So don't be too engrossed with the number on the scale. What is actually necessary is to measure your body fat percent. So there are body fat percentage calculators which are available on Amazon. I mean, 10 years ago, all this wasn't available. And I just got body fat calipers, the skin fold calipers, which I was using in my clinical practice to help patients to lose weight. So nowadays, you have a lot of digital products also. So all you have to do is either hold it and wait for the reading to appear, or you can stand on the weight plate and you'll get all the readings there, like weight in kg, body fat percent, and lean muscle mass, etc. So invest in something like that. So this will be a little more accurate than just looking at your weight. So if you're embarking on your fitness journey, the most important point to remember is that the weight scale is not a measure of how healthy you are, right? So stop relying on the scale and also rely on better measures, because body weight equals muscle, fat, bone, as well as organs. So tracking progress. So how do we know that we are becoming fitter? So the first thing to remember is BMI, that is body mass index. you can calculate it by weight in kg divided by height in centimeter the whole square. So BMI usually should be below 25 and above 18. So below 18 is underweight, and above 25 is overweight, and above 30 is obese. So BMI is very good for a normal individual, but for athletes and muscular individuals, BMI cannot be relied on. As I told you, a bodybuilder and an obese person may have the same reading on the scale. So you cannot use BMI as a progress indicator for bodybuilders or people who are muscular. So for them, as I said, we should use a body fat percent calculator. You can also use an inch tape to measure how much you are progressing. Suppose you have a lot of arm fat or you have a lot of fat in your thighs, you can measure how many inches your arms or your thighs measure, and then we can progress. As we progress, we can keep measuring it to see where we stand. So if in this month you measure around 12 inches in your biceps and you want to increase it to 14 inches, or you want to decrease it to 10, so this is a reliable indicator. So you can use inch loss as a reliable indicator and body fat percent as a reliable indicator. And the last one is the weighing scale. As I told you, weighing scale is not at all important, and this is the last way to measure progress. This is the least important way. So let's go to the types of exercise. It may be divided into aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic exercise is when the muscles have enough oxygen to produce the energy needed to perform. And anaerobic exercise is exercise that happens without oxygen, which means oxygen demand is greater than the oxygen supply, and you can't keep up with the energy your body is demanding. So an example of aerobic exercise is just walking or steady jogging, and you're talking comfortably to people around you. That is an example of aerobic exercise. And sometimes when you're sprinting and when you're walking in between and running in between, sometimes you may be out of breath. So that is an example of an anaerobic exercise. So anaerobic exercise is an excellent way to lose weight, though it may seem a little scary. This is an excellent way to lose weight, and it will also help to build your lung volume and also help you to lose weight faster. So this is the anatomy of an exercise session. So first we start with a warm-up, which comes to around 5 to 10 minutes, and you perform some fast stretching, which is called dynamic stretching. Some people also say that you can do some static stretching, which is not too aggressive before the workout. The conditioning phase is the actual workout. Suppose you go for a 5-kilometer run, that is the conditioning phase. It can be a run, or it can be a ride, or a cycle ride, or it can be a swim. All this is part of the conditioning phase. Then this is followed by the cool down. This similar to the warm up. Some people call it a warm down, so it can be called in either way. So the warm down is the same activity that you did at a lower speed, so that your heart rate comes down. And this is followed by holding stretches. So you hold and you wait for around 10 seconds or so. That is called a static stretch. So an interesting statistic by the American Heart Association says that you need a minimum of 150 minutes of moderate exercise and another 30 minutes of intense exercise per week. So at least aim for that 150 minutes of exercise per week. So if you're going to do that, you need at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week. I think that's more than enough. Now coming to the Borg rating of perceived exertions. This is an important scale because not all of us will be interested in heart rate monitors. So how fast we run and how fast or how intense we make the exercise session is important to lose weight. So if we keep the intensity at 4 or 5, that means it's very comfortable and you can talk whatever you want to your friend as you exercise. That means it's an RPE rate of 4 to 5. When you're at RPE, a rate of perceived exertion at 5 to 6, then it means you'll be breathing a little harder. Like for example, you're used to lifting 30 kgs and suddenly you're lifting 50 kgs, you'll feel a little difficult to breathe. So that, but you'll still be able to talk to whoever is nearby. So that is holding a comfortable conversation. RPE 7 is having deep and labored breathing. Like for example, you're running really fast and your breathing is deep and labored, but you're able to mention 2 or 3 sentences. Okay. RPE 8 to 9 is really deep and labored breathing, and you can manage only one sentence, that to 5 to 7 words. And the last one, RPE 10, you're able to say only one word, right? So that is actual all-out sprint. So that is an example of a RPE 10. So most of the time, you won't require to be at RP10. So what we usually recommend is 2 days at RP 5 to 6 and 3 days at RP 7. So this is the usual kind of training that we need to be fit. So this is high intensity interval training. As I said, this involves a fixed period of high intensity cardio followed by cardio at a relaxed pace. So, for example, this sprinting for 800 meters. Usually, 800 meters takes 3 minutes to complete for an average person, followed by 100 meters or 1 minute of relaxed running. So, you have to alternate between both. The same technique applies for cycling or swimming. So, you ride fast or you swim fast, then you relax for some time, then again you ride or you swim fast. And training when you're lifting weights, HIIT can be done by performing body weight exercises followed by cardio. So if you're at the gym and you want to do HIIT or high intensity interval training, you can do bench press followed by sprinting on the spot, right? Or you can do powerlifting like deadlifts, and you can follow it up with sprinting on the spot. And you can also go heavy for a specific number of sets, so you can go perform supersets followed by lat pull downs or such as bench press followed by lat pull downs or barbell squats. So all these are examples of HIIT which can be done at the gym, right? So coming to some nutrition hacks for fat loss. So first thing is you have to cut off all junk food, right? So we get many people, they don't want to cut off junk food, but they still want to lose weight. And they come asking for a diet. That is meaningless because only when you cut out junk food can you lose weight. So the first step to a successful diet is cutting off all junk food. I know this is very difficult and it takes a certain amount of energy and how do you say, motivation to do this. But once you achieve this, you can easily lose weight. Like just cut off junk food. I guarantee you'll lose 2 kgs, minimum 2 kgs that month, right? So cut off junk food first, including alcohol, carbonated drinks, and as I said, trans fats. All these should be cut off. And what you do next is you slowly reduce the carbohydrates, right? You don't totally cut off your carbs, you just slowly reduce them. And you also slowly increase your proteins. For vegans, you have to increase beans, chickpea, eggs, nuts, or lean meats. Okay, so all this should be increased slowly. So another thing is you have to take your meals 3 hours apart. You should not like take a heavy meal and then wait for a long time, like 6 hours, and then have the next meal. So instead of doing that, you have a small meal, wait for 3 hours, have another small meal, right? So you space your meals so that your metabolism is fired up. And if your BMR, if you're able to eat up to your BMR, and you can try skipping dinner twice a week, but this is a last phase. You should not do it immediately. So once you stop losing weight, you're trying to run and you're going to gym, you're following all the principles that I already told you, and you're still not losing weight, you can try skipping dinner twice a week. Not daily, only twice a week. Right. So the next thing is portion control. Portion control means allotting a specific portion for your carbohydrate, a specific portion for your protein, and a specific portion for your fat. So sometimes when you like something, you tend to have more. Like for example, most of us South Indians, we love rice. So we, have 3 servings of rice, which is usually not necessary because we don't do a lot of manual labor and none of us are farmers or coolies. We work at desk jobs. So we really don't need that much of rice. The problem is when you try to cut off rice immediately, you can't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly reduce the amount of rice that you're taking. So suppose you have 3 servings of rice, try to reduce it to 2, and then make it 1 serving over time. It usually takes at least 2 months to reduce your carbohydrates. So reduce your carbs and slowly increase your protein. As I said, beans, chickpea, all that you can increase. You can also increase the green vegetables that you're having. So all these will help you to lose weight easily. As now we're going to the layman's guide for nutrition, because all this what we discussed so far may be a little difficult to understand. So for a layman, you can say that you can have 2 to 3 cups of vegetables, 1.5 to 2 cups of fruits, around 70 grams of grains 4 times a day. That's around 280 grams in total. So grains include rice, wheat, millet, or oats. All this in total for 1 day should come to around 280 grams. You can separate that for 4 meals and have less than 70 grams for each. And dairy or dairy products, 2 cups of milk and milk products can be consumed. Meat or kidney beans or paneer, 170 to 200 grams can be had. Oils, 5 to 7 teaspoons, and refined sugar, less than 3 tablespoons. Keto and low carb diets. So most of us we know about this keto and low carb diets, and we also heard about paleo diets. All these are similar. So keto diet basically involves cutting off carb sources in your diet and getting all your majority of fat and protein. So with a CPF ratio of 10 is to 40 is to 50. So here 10 is carbs, 40 is protein, and 50 is fats, meaning that you get only 5 to 10 grams of carbs in a day. So this is a really radical way to diet, and you should not go into that immediately. So what we usually recommend is a CPF ratio of 30, 40, 30. So you have 30% of carbs, 40 of protein, and 30 of fats. So this is how you should divide the CPF ratio. And we already talked about how to calculate macros. So you can go and calculate that as advised already. And we talked about intermittent fasting also. So it's an eating pattern where you cycle between periods of eating and fasting. So this basically involves skipping one meal or twice a week. So it should not be performed on a daily basis, because when you do that, your body tends to adjust. And when your body adjusts to it, then you're in trouble. That's why it's better that you fast only twice a week. There are people who are used to it and who are already very lean. So these sort of people can fast daily, no problem. But those who are overweight, those who are trying to reduce weight, please don't fast daily. If you do that, your body will adjust and you won't lose weight. So fast only twice a week, that too, skip only one meal, right? So this is intermittent fasting. So basically you'll be fasting for 16 hours and you'll be eating within a time period of 8 hours. So intermittent fasting is not for diabetics or for pregnant mothers. Please be careful. As for those who are working out, the recommended calorie intake is 2000 to 2500 for those who are engaged in mild exercise, and those who are performing higher intensity exercise need upward of 2500 calories. So as I said, the CPF ratio should be adjusted accordingly. Carbohydrate should be around 50% if you're a runner, and if you're a bodybuilder or if you require lesser amount of energy, you can reduce the number of carbs to 30%, right? So as I said, runners need a 50, 30, 20 split. Bodybuilders require 30, 40, 30 split, or even 10, 40, 50 in cutting phase. So when you are bodybuilding and when you want to lose a lot of fat, so you may need only 10% of carbs, 40% of protein, and 50% of your calories from fats. So you will be having a lot of fats when you're actually trying to cut off the fats in your diet. Then we come to the order of usage of macros and exercise. So the first thing that you need to remember is when you're performing intense exercise, you usually use up a lot of carbs. So you need to fuel up with carbs, carbohydrates. So suppose you're running or you're an endurance cycling or something like that, you need to consume a lot of carbohydrates, because for such activities you need carbohydrates first. Then the excess carbohydrate that you consume will get stored in the liver as glycogen. So because you need glycogen to work out, you need to obviously have a lot of carbohydrates when you go for a longer duration of exercise. But if you're going for a shorter duration of exercise, you don't need that much amount of carbohydrate. Also, you have to judge the intensity. We talked about RPE, so rating of perceived exertion. If your rating of perceived exertion is only at 6 or 7, you don't need that much of carbohydrates. But if it's going to be at 8, then you need more carbohydrates. So this comes with experience and trial and error. So coming to what to eat and when, approximately 3 hours before any strong bodybuilding workout or any intense cardio workout, you should have a good carbohydrate meal like bread, lean meats, and nuts. If you are a vegetarian, you can have nuts. And you should make sure that it is low in fat and fiber to avoid gastrointestinal distress. Coming to the top 5 ways to lose fat, as we already talked about this, reduce your simple carbohydrates and replace the simple carbohydrates with complex carbs. For example, if you're having white rice, switch from white rice to brown rice, or switch from white rice to red rice, right? So you can also switch between rice and beans. So instead of rice, you can have kidney beans. right? So this is a switching that you need to do. And of course, you need to increase proteins. You need to drink more water. So if you cannot control the amount of food that you eat, try to drink water before you eat. So if you fill your stomach with water, then you won't be able to eat much. So drink more water, especially before food. Don't starve or go on juice diets. Don't skip a meal more than once or twice a week, right? So we already talked about how much water we need. And during exercise, it's important that you start drinking before your thirst signal starts. Most of us wait till we feel thirsty and then we drink. That's okay. When you're working, that's okay, because most of us don't work at very high intensity. Most of us have desk jobs, and we don't go out or climb or do anything like that. But when you're working out, when you're exercising, you should drink before your thirst signal. So, for example, if I'm cycling, I make sure that I have a sip of water every 10 kilometers. And if I'm running, I make sure that I have a sip of water every 4 to 5 kilometers. So this is just an example. And another important thing to aim for is straw-colored urine. The urine should not be dark and it should not be too light. So it should be straw-colored. That is what you should be aiming for. And various studies have shown that water and good hormones also have helped obese individuals to lose weight. So 4 liters, we talked about 4 liters of fluids, does not necessarily have to be water. It can also be milk. It can also be fruit juices without sugar. So all these are part of fluids, right? But don't include alcohol or coffee in your amount of fluids. That is different because they have a diuretic effect. You should not include them in your fluid intake. And of course, when you're having a lot of water, make sure that you have salt also, because if you have a lot of water, the amount of salt in your body will get diluted, and because of that, you may go into hyponatremia. So hyponatremia is a condition where you have low sodium, and your kidneys may be affected because of this. So a few endurance runners have suffered from this because they had too much of water during the run. So always make sure that whenever you drink a lot of water, have a pinch of salt. So conclusion for the nutrition section: take minimum of 4 liters of water. Limit your amount of grains to 170 to 200 grams. And take green leafy vegetables, 2 cups of green leafy vegetables and fruits, and 2 cups of milk and milk products. And take protein from kidney beans, chickpeas, soya, omega-3 from nuts and flaxseed, right? If possible, you can have eggs also as a source of protein. Meat is a very good source of protein if you're okay with consuming non-vegetarian. And when beginning dieting, make sure that you replace the simple carbohydrates slowly with complex carbohydrates. So this I've given a sample plan for a heavy marathon runner. So you can include eggs, fruits, and such ingredients for your breakfast. And this app that I've shown here on the screen is Healthify Me app. So this kind of app is very, very important to calculate the amount of macros that you have. There are also many other similar apps online, but for an Indian diet, I think Healthify Me does a very good job. So you can go and track the amount of food that you have on the app, and it's very easy to understand, and it's in layman terms. So go ahead, download the app Healthify Me. So it will help you to calculate the amount of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that you're having on a daily basis, and you can also calculate how much of CPF ratio that you're taking. So applying fitness is a lifestyle. So the first thing to remember is change the type of friends that you're having around you. You don't have to cut off your bad friends. You make new friends who will encourage you to be healthy, right? So instead of hanging around with people who want to party all the time or people who want to drink alcohol, try to make new friends who are interested in your well-being and in your health. So when you improve your friends circle like this, your physical health will automatically improve. That's a given, right? So make sure that you improve on your friend circle. Create goals as a team. This I've found even for myself. If I make a fitness goal to improve on my cycling time or my running time, sometimes when I do it alone, it's very difficult, especially as a beginner. It was very difficult for me to do it alone. That's why we created the team, Trichy Endurance Team. We created that because I found it very difficult to improve on my abilities. So once we started doing things as a group and we started competing against each other, it became a healthy competition. And even now, we compare our Strava data and we try to overtake one another. So it's we continue to progress. So in that way, competition is very helpful. And when you don't work out, when you see somebody else doing it, you will also feel like doing it. So make sure that you do it as a team. And most important thing, get your family involved, because these are the people that you are going to spend most of your time with and the rest of your life with. So get your family involved, and you'll basically be well settled in the world of fitness. As for goal setting, many people, they come to me and they say they want to lose 10 kgs in a month or 4 kgs in a week. All these are very high goals, but you shouldn't be aiming for such goals, because it's, the first thing is, it's going to be detrimental for your health. So basically you should lose only 1 or 2 kgs maximum per week. So what I suggest here is, aim for 500 grams per week. That's enough, because if you do that, you can sustain it for a long term. On the other hand, if you try to lose 4 kgs in a week, in a month you'll lose around 5 to 6 kgs, and then you'll stop. You'll stop losing weight, and then you'll gain that weight back again. Probably it will become worse. So aim for a small goal. Divide your goals. Suppose you want to lose 30 kgs. You can lose 3 kgs per month or 2 kgs per month, and you can take around 15 months to reach your goal. Just be consistent. Divide your goals into small goals instead of having a big goal, right? So if you're a power lifter and you want to lift 100 kgs and you're only lifting 90, you don't jump from 90 to 100. You go from 90 to 95, then you go to 97.5, and then you go to 100. So divide into small goals. Always eat more than your BMR. I cannot stress this enough. I've already told you several times. Don't eat less than your BMR. So this is another section that's important: fitness variables and bands. If you're going to get into cardio like walking or jogging or running or cycling, you definitely need heart rate trackers or GPS trackers. So preferred heart rate trackers include products from companies like Garmin and Fitbit with GPS included. The Fitbit Versa and the Fitbit Versa 2, Charge 3, Inspire HR, Garmin VivoSmart 4, Vivo Move 3 and 3S. All of these devices have integrated GPS. But if you're a fan of more for less, if you want to spend less money and get more features, you can go for the Amazfit trackers that are watches. You can get Amazfit GPS watches for as little as 13,000. If you think that amount is too much, if you go for a Garmin watch, it will cost at least 40,000. So if you want a GPS watch for sports at a low rate, you can go for Amazfit. There will be a drop in accuracy, but not all of us are going to be elite athletes, right? So if you want a good GPS watch for a low rate, go for Amazfit. And if you want a good tracker, you can get the same in Garmin for 13K. But it's not a watch, it's only a tracker. So chest strap versus a heart rate monitor. The biggest battleground is now chest straps versus wrist devices. Most of us don't need an accurate heart rate reading, so we don't need a chest strap. And the optical sensors that are integrated into running watches, they detect the amount of blood flowing through your veins and the arteries, and they do the job pretty well. So you don't actually need a chest strap unless you're an elite athlete. So GPS watches or fitness bands, we just discussed this. This depends totally on how you're going to use your wearable. So if you're a cardio freak and you're tired of removing your band and putting on your watch to go to work, and if you're going to benefit from using a GPS watch, like you're going to upload your data on Strava and compare with other runners, then it's better that you get a GPS watch. So if you're a person who just goes for regular walks to control your sugar levels, or if you just want to do it for mental peace, then normal tracker or a fitness band is more than enough. A professional athlete will do better with a GPS watch used along with a chest strap for your heart rate. And this most important section, what corporates don't want you to know. Here we discuss why you don't need to actually join a gym to lose weight. Because there's a difference between saying you can join a gym to lose weight and saying that this is the only way to lose weight. Because gym is a very good way to lose weight. I'm not saying that you should not go to gym. It's good, especially for beginners and especially for those who have problems in their health. You need to go to a gym. You need to get the opinion of a physiotherapist also in the gym to work with you. That's very good, but it's not the only way to lose weight. There are several other ways and faster ways to lose fat, right? So, and another thing is you don't need supplements or fat burners. So stop asking for fat burners. So instead of fat burners, do HIIT training. We already discussed that, interval training and all that. So do more of that, and don't think about fat burners. Don't think about protein supplements, because most of us are not going to be on the bodybuilding stage, right? We don't need supplements most of the time. And for basic weights, you can use dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells. You can buy these and keep them at home. You can also install a pull-up bar at home. You can just install it on top and you can do pull-ups on a regular basis. So all this together will cost less than 20,000 INR rupees. And a lot of people ask me about a treadmill, but I don't usually recommend that, because if you're going to invest in a treadmill and you're going to run on the treadmill, you have to spend at least 1 lakh or more for a good treadmill. If you don't spend that much, the cushioning on your treadmill won't be that good. So when that happens, you'll have knee issues with age. You'll develop more and more problems. So just go out for a run, lift weights at home. And this is another slide showing how much of calories is burnt in cycling, dancing, jogging, running, and swimming. As you can see, all of these are more than lifting weights. So amount of calories burnt per hour in jogging is 9.3. In running, it's 11. In cycling, is 5.5, and dancing is 7.4. And cycling that's mentioned here is only at 16 kilometers per hour. If you cycle at 20 or 25, you'll be burning around 7 to 8 calories per hour, right? So all these are other examples of how to lose fat. And the biggest myth, what everybody keeps telling me and other runners, running on the road will kill your knees. That is not correct. This is a personal experience. My friend also told me the same. And he was running on the treadmill and I was running on the road. And finally what happened? My knees were fine. And he developed an issue later on. So while the fact that any form of running can cause joint issues may be true, running, like any other exercise, needs a proper warm-up, a healthy diet, and of course slowly improving your run pace. So all these are important. So when you respect running, it respects you back. So perform a proper warm-up, perform a proper warm-down, and slowly increase your pace. Don't suddenly go from 8 kilometer speed to 12 kilometer speed. So when you do stuff like that, or when you increase your pace suddenly, you're bound to get into issues. So other fitness myths, protein is essential, but it's not as important as other macros. Make sure that you take a minimum of 1 gram per kilogram of body weight of protein. And of course, there is no need to cross 2 gram per kilogram of protein, even though there are no proven side effects. And many people ask this spot reduction. They ask how to reduce tummy fat, how to reduce thigh fat, how to reduce fat in my bum. So this is spot reduction, which does not exist. Okay, you cannot reduce fat in one area. So when you're going to reduce fat, it's going to happen throughout your body. So please stop researching on spot reduction, because it doesn't exist. And all these ointments and creams that are available to reduce fat, massages, all these, they don't work. So, and another thing that's important here, being chubby does not mean that you're healthy. So when you're a baby and when you're a kid, maybe before you reach your teenage years, being chubby may mean being healthy. But when you become an adult, as you cross your teenage years, after you cross your puberty, being chubby does not mean that you're healthy. And just because you're less chubby does not mean that you're not healthy, right? So people will say this all the time, your cheeks have gone down, your eyes have gone in, so you don't look healthy at all. But that's not the case, because you're actually losing fat throughout your body. All this fat is also going to go down, definitely going to go down. So don't worry about that, right? So even if you lose fat in your face, it's fine. It's a measure of how you're progressing, right? And who should join the gym? As I told you, anyone can go to the gym, especially beginners and those who have diseases. They need the help of a physiotherapist. They should definitely go to the gym. Those who want to grow muscle, they should go to the gym. Those who have no idea about exercise and the ABCDs of fitness, they should definitely go to gym and get help. And those who have already tried gym, they're not losing weight, then they should definitely start to run, cycle, and swim. So these are all other good methods to lose weight. They can also try Zumba, right? So gym is not the only way to be fit. And we already covered HIIT. So the beauty of HIIT is that you do work out for a very short amount of time, but you still continue to burn calories even when you're resting. So this is really important, because most of us are busy guys. We cannot go running 2 to 3 hours every day and then go to work. So it's practically impossible. So one study demonstrated that 2 hours of HIIT training produced the same success as 10 hours of endurance training. So that's really huge. So it's almost like 5 times faster calorie burning rate. So why do we need to spend so much of time running when you can do a HIIT session and finish off in 45 minutes or 30 minutes, right? So that is the beauty of HIIT and interval running and HIIT at the gym. I already gave you some examples about that. So start doing HIIT, right? And because we're all busy individuals and we need to balance our fitness, you should incorporate HIIT at least twice a week. Twice a week is more than enough. Don't go more than twice a week. Experts can do 4 times a week, right? So this is a sneak peek into my life. I wake up at 5:30 and I exercise till 6 to 6:45 or so. If I have surgeries booked, then I operate at around 7:30 a.m. Then I come down to the OPD and I see patients from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. I have a 1 hour break at 12 to have lunch. Then again I sit in the OPD from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And after that I spend time with family both in the afternoon as well as after 9 p.m. At 10 p.m., what I do is mind is also very important for fitness. So you have to keep learning new things so that your mind doesn't grow old. So only when your mind is new and when your neurons are continuously producing new connections, can you remain young as you age. So you have to learn something new every day, at least half an hour. So I do that at around 10 to 10:30 every day. So I learn something new. It can be an online course, or it can be a YouTube video, or it can be a new fitness course that I applied for. I recently applied for the ACSM fitness course. That's like the first ranking personal training course in the world. So I'm studying for that also even now. So I study around half an hour a day also. So that is another way of being young and being fit. And of course, I sleep by 10:30 to 11, so that I can wake up at 5:30. Another thing is maintaining fitness as we age. So as we become older and we want to start fitness all of a sudden, please get a physician clearance, right? So you should not suddenly start working out when you're above 50 or so. So get a physician clearance, and as we mentioned, calculate your BMR in the calculator available on Google. You can calculate your total daily expenditure also, and make sure that you cross your BMR, at least your BMR, if not your TDE. Ride a cycle or walk to work, right? This is the most important thing. I cannot stress this enough. Please don't use your car or your bike. Take your cycle or walk to work. So if you do this, you don't have to spend on diabetic medications. You don't have to spend that much on hypertensive medications or cardiac medications. All this is not necessary when you just do a simple commute. You don't have to take your vehicle, ride a cycle or walk to work, right? And if you're not able to do this, you have to do your runs and you have to go to gym. At least lift weights twice or thrice a week. Cardio also should be done twice or thrice a week. Avoid junk foods and alcohol. Alcohol, they say small amounts is good for health, but most of us, we don't know to control our portions of alcohol. So better to stay away. And work out a minimum of 5 days a week and drink at least 3 to 4 liters of water daily. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Because if we do all this and we don't sleep enough, then we are going to die early. So it's very important. I cannot stress this enough. Please sleep well. Only if you sleep well, you can grow muscle. Only if you sleep well, you can burn fat. So if you don't sleep and you exercise without sleeping, you're destroying yourself slowly, bit by bit. So that's why even so-called healthy people who don't sleep, they die early, probably before they reach 60, because you're putting your body at immense stress and you're not giving it enough rest, right? So please sleep. And of course, coming to motivation and allotting time, you should sleep by 11 p.m. max. You wake up at 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. and get in your workout before 6. Most of the homemakers who are getting their children ready for school, they have to be at home by 6. So this is the main complaint that they say. So what I say is sleep early, get up early at 5, get in a half an hour workout or a 45-minute workout, and be at home by 6, right? Minimum 150 minutes of exercise per week. So even if you're going to do 30 minutes per day for 5 days, it's enough to maintain your body in a healthy condition. Maximum 180 minutes, and if you're experienced, you can work out however much time you want. Just make sure that you get enough sleep. Don't avoid any macros. As I said, carbohydrate, protein, fat, right? So some people, what they do is they say, oh, I'm gaining weight, I'm going to cut my carbs. And they cut their carbs, they take it down really low. And what happens is, if they keep doing that, they will get into kidney issues. So please be careful. Don't drop your carbohydrates, don't cut your fats, don't cut your proteins. All these are necessary, right? All these are important. That is why I talked about the CPF ratio. Carbohydrates should be consumed at minimum of 30. Protein should be consumed at a minimum of 30. Fat should be consumed at a minimum of 30. So the range should be mostly like it can go up to 50 for proteins, 30 to 50%. And for fats, you can keep it around, again, 30 to 50%. And carbohydrates also 30 to 50%. And yeah, the only thing that you should be avoiding is trans fat and alcohol. These two should be avoided. And another important tip that I want you to remember, you don't have to think of it as showing off or anything, but you have to post your exercises and workouts on social media. Only then, if you stop posting, someone will ask you why you didn't do your workout. So be accountable, post on social media. There will be many people who criticize you, they will call you a show off. That is fine. Doesn't matter. Be accountable for yourself. Post on social media, post on Instagram, because unknowingly we will be inspiring many other people. So I experience the same. Whenever I post, some fellow will come in the comments and say I'm showing off. So, but the amount of positive comments that I got later on is really immense. So around 4 or 5 years after I started posting, some random stranger comes to me and tells me that his life is totally changed because of my posts and because he got motivated. So if I hadn't posted, probably I might not have saved a life. So that is the amount of importance that we should give to posting regularly, right? So post your workouts. Don't be afraid of what others will say. Post your workouts on social media because it's very important and it will keep you accountable, right? So as to conclude the session, eat as per your BMR, avoid junk foods, reduce carbohydrates, stick to complex carbohydrates, and ride or cycle daily. Work out a minimum of 5 days a week. Try keto or intermittent fasting only if your body is not responding to a normal diet with exercise, right? Fast twice a week if it doesn't respond to exercise. Lift weights or do circuits twice a week. So circuit is basically a group of exercises done together without rest. Okay, you can go to my YouTube channel to look up circuit exercises, and the YouTube channel is Dr. Vinod Nathaniel, Dr. my name, right? You can access all my workouts over there, and you have to do a yoga or a flexibility routine at least 15 minutes daily. And if you have knee pain, don't try to go and jog immediately. Try to reduce your weight first. Try sports like swimming or low impact exercises so that you don't experience further knee pain or other issues, right? So if you already know that you have an issue, you should try to work around it, right? You shouldn't try the same thing over and over. There's always a way around it, okay? And of course, this is my book, No Bullshit Fitness. You can download it from getfitwithnats.com. And some of the pages from the book was already in this presentation. You can visit my site and download my free book. You will need to subscribe again from your email. So you will be asked to submit your name and your email in my website. And once you submit that, you will get an email. And you have to click subscribe in that email. So after you click subscribe, please give a time of 10 minutes to 30 minutes. So you'll receive an email from Active Campaign. That is an automated email. It will send you the details of my PDF or ebook. And in case you don't receive it within half an hour, you can always get in touch with the WhatsApp number over there, 97866 20348. So just tell me and I'll send you the link to my ebook. But please register at my website. Okay. Thanks a lot. And any doubts? I think we can answer the doubts that people asked over here on Instagram.
Superb, sir. So we loved the whole content over there. We had a few questions from the user Nerdy NutriFit on Insta. Okay. So first we'll close that first. So first of all, she's very surprised whether you are 40 or not. So
yeah, almost 40. Yeah.
Yeah. So and hope you can see her question over there, or should I read it for you?
Please read it. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah. Is there a normal range of waist circumference to lose per month?
Right. So the amount of circumference or the amount of inch loss that is required per month varies with different individuals. So if you take me, most of my waist is composed of muscle. So I cannot lose my waist that easily. Whereas for somebody else, they may have more of a fat percentage, and because of that, they can actually reduce their waist a little faster, right? So it varies with different individuals. But for a normal individual, I would say an inch lot of at least half an inch is fine per
Okay,
month.
okay. Per month, okay. And how to determine maximum heart rate?
Yeah.
And I think I missed the whole question over there. If she can type the question again, maybe we can read it for her. To gauge for
Yeah,
some
maximum
persons.
heart rate you can, yeah. Maximum heart rate is basically you have to subtract your age from 220. So this will give you your maximum heart rate. So if you're 2 years old, so I think it will come to 190. Your maximum heart rate will be 190 because when you're subtracting from 220, it comes to 190. And if your maximum heart rate is 190, the amount of work that you put in for burning fat is 70% of your maximum heart rate. So that is 70 multiplied by 190 divided by 100. So that will give you the heart rate that you should be working on.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. So thank you, sir. So right now I'll be finishing the Insta questions because like it is more than 1 hour. So we won't be having it on IGTV, I believe like that. So I'm going to close Insta. Like so we'll be
Oh,
staying live on Facebook. So if
right.
Facebook user, I mean if Insta user wants to follow us, just go back to Facebook or YouTube, you can watch us. Just stay online. Okay. And yeah, sir. So from here we have few
Okay.
questions which I personally have, and few we got on even WhatsApp.
Okay.
Many doctors visit, like see the patient. Many GPs they see the patient. They hardly have some time for the fitness. One thing what you said
Okay.
was high intensity interval training. Just
Yes.
like it
Yes.
saves around 12 times a time, correct?
Yeah.
So 2 hours of HIIT with like can we so we can equate to 12 hours or 10 hours. So
Yeah.
basically, for any doctors, how to improve fat burning during sitting on the couch. So do they have to follow any food regimen or any
Uh-huh.
particular exercise out there? If if it is a how to find it for them? Very
Yeah.
simple
I understand.
ones.
Uh, so the one thing that I recommend for doctors who are having a desk job, the first thing is try to keep your equipment in different places at your office. So, for example, if you take my profession, an ophthalmologist, most of my equipment is usually attached in one unit. Most of the ophthalmologists you see, everything will be attached in one unit. But I don't like that because I like to walk. So I like to get up and go somewhere and do a test, and I like to come back. So I invest in separate equipments. So my slit lamp will be in one place. My refraction unit will be in another place. The automatic refractometer will be in another place. And my actual desk where I prescribe medicines for my patients and glasses for my patients will be in a different place. So I'll be getting up a lot. So between cases, I'll get up at least 2 times. I'll be squatting, getting up, squatting again, getting up. So this will actually give me some exercise while I'm working. And some of the tests are done upstairs, so I don't use the lift. I walk up, right? So these are small ways that you can improve on the number of steps that you're taking every day. Other than this, at your office, you can try. All of you will be having swivel chairs, right? So you can swivel like this. You can swivel your hips, and you can keep moving like this. So this is an example of a torso exercise that you can do. And you can also try lifting both your feet up and doing crunches without touching your feet on the floor. That is another exercise that you can do. You can also do wall push-ups. Keep both your hands on the wall, your feet away from the wall, and do push-ups against the wall. So if that is too easy for you, if you're an athletic person, you can try one-arm wall push-ups. So that's also a very good way to keep fit at work. You can also try squats, body weight lunges. And if you have a yoga mat at work, you can spread it out and do push-ups on the floor also. No issues. And I
Excellent, sir.
have a video
Because
for this on my YouTube also. I think it's one of my first videos on YouTube in my channel. You can find office workouts there.
fantastic, sir. Because nowadays few doctors they are keeping this push-up bar, sorry, the pull-ups bar or naked.
Okay.
So they're starting to do this
Yes, exactly.
stretching exercise
You
like
can
like the old in the OPDs. Even
incorporate that
myself,
equipment there.
yes,
Yeah.
true. What I used to do some 20 minutes of pranayama or
Ah.
sometimes holding a yoga
Excellent.
mat,
That is
closing
also
the
very good.
doors.
That's very good. Very good. Yeah.
Yes, Vajrasana. So I used to practice. Excellent tips from you, sir. And thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
And do you suggest any very specific snacking? Because
Okay.
during the practice, intense practice, like it's very
Okay.
common for doctors to munch on tea, coffee, vada, or pav, specifically when they go
Yeah.
for OT, in between some
So there are
surgeries,
all
I've seen
sources of
many
trans fats. Yes.
anesthetists. Yes, exactly. So, how a doctor can maintain a healthy diet because it's very easy for them to throw money. You please go and get a vada because they're having multiple surgeries in hand. So,
Mhm.
please give some tips for them also.
Yeah. So the common healthy snacks that I usually recommend are fruits, not banana because banana has more carbohydrates. But you can try apple, you can try guava, you can try oranges, and if you want a little more flavor, you can try nuts like almonds and walnuts. These have more fats, but they are HDL fats, so it's fine. But not don't consume too much. Like go for around 10 to 20 maximum, right? And something else that I'd like to suggest is chickpea. If you can parcel it when you go to work, you can take a box of chickpea and you can snack on that.
So basically, they have to plan before going for work, not go
Yes,
there and just ask for
you
snacks
can
or only things available.
exactly. You will pack your fruits or you pack your protein foods and you take it to work.
I would suggest for them to even pack some coffee also, very specifically black coffee,
Mm.
because again, milk can cause
Black
some,
coffee.
yeah,
Yeah.
so weight gain again if you don't drink multiple coffees.
One
And
thing is with black coffee, if you have stress ulcers, it's not recommended. So
true,
that we have to be careful.
true, thank you. And for doctors, many would have stopped working out, they would have
Mm.
gained weight for ladies as well
Yeah.
as men. So now, after seeing the video, they would have think, okay, I should start now, or they would have got recently diagnosed as diabetes or a hypertension. For them, how to start running or walking because they would
Okay.
have gained weight, how to
Yeah.
manage the knee weights or knee injuries. Just some tips on
Fine.
that.
Fine. So you're asking for someone with systemic disease and knee injury, knee problems.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. So most of the overweight individuals and those with high cholesterol will usually have some sort of knee issue. So what they should usually do is they should, as I said in my presentation, you should replace their simple carbohydrates with complex carbohydrates. So if you're having white rice, switch to red rice or brown rice or rotis, something like that. So when they switch, they will start losing weight. And after that, what they should be doing is they should slowly reduce the amount of rice that they're having. And of course, they should totally cut off the junk food. And if they feel hungry, they can have something like milk or buttermilk or nuts or fruits, as I said. They can keep snacking on these healthy foods. And if they do that, they won't gain weight. So they'll continue to lose weight. And at one point of time, they will be able to walk or do some sort of cardio without having knee pain. So that is the point that we are waiting for. So first change the diet, and once they lose enough weight, they can start exercising. And if you're really worried about exercise, then you can start swimming because that is a totally no impact kind of exercise. So if they are okay with a swimming pool, they can immediately start swimming. Right.
Yeah. So my emphasis, I mean, like was a request on how to, I mean, like as I told, first they have to lose weight in the diet, then to
Okay.
prevent injury, so like they have to start exercising, right? So that is
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they have knee injury and still they
Okay.
want to walk, some people wear this knee caps. Do
Ah.
you advise on that?
Yes. So knee braces are excellent, and they actually don't provide any therapeutic benefit, but they help you to feel better when you're walking, and that pain that you experience while walking or running with knee band is reduced. So one thing I want to mention is don't wear it when you're sleeping because it will compress your circulation. So wear it when you're working out or when you're going to work also, it's fine. So it will reduce the amount of knee pain that you're experiencing. You can reduce your pain medications also when you're wearing your knee band. So it's good in one way, but don't you overuse it.
So let me check few other doubts over there. Very common doubt from these students of
Okay.
how to get six packs.
Okay. So if
Medical
you're
students
a
over there.
beginner to,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're a beginner to workouts, then I don't advise you to immediately go for a six-pack diet, because that is a perfect recipe of disaster. If you start going for a six-pack diet immediately without any prior experience, then you'll immediately land up in issues or trouble, and you'll be forced to stop exercising. So as I said, start lowering your carbohydrates, start increasing your proteins. So at one point of time, your body will stop losing weight. So as soon as you start dropping your carbohydrates slowly, so suppose you're having 1 cup of rice, you make it 3/4 cup of rice, then you make it half cup of rice. So as you keep reducing, your weight will slowly start coming down. At one point, you will almost be having only so much of rice, but your weight will continue to remain the same. It stopped. So at that point, you should increase your proteins. So the proteins that are necessary for six packs include egg whites, peanut butter, lean meats like chicken, grilled chicken, and fish. If you're a vegetarian, you go for chickpea, you go for beans, you go for paneer, you go for flaxseed. All these are good sources of proteins. And milk, if you're going to have milk when you're on a six-pack diet, you go for low-fat milk. I usually don't suggest this, but if you're on a six-pack diet, if you want six packs, you go for this. But this is not a healthy option, and any doctor would suggest would go against a six-pack diet, because it's not going to be healthy in the long run. It can be done on a temporary basis, and it's enough if you have 2 packs, right? You can maintain 2 packs or 4 packs without any issues. But if you're going to go for a six-pack, then you should not be having it as a permanent solution, right?
So a person can have 4 packs for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I usually have 4 packs all the time.
Oh,
So
okay.
you just
That's
have
nice.
to moderate the amount of carbohydrates that you have.
Okay. 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 Sir, and please define on junk food because
Okay.
for us, no, junk food is always with by textbooks, like burgers,
I
pizzas,
think
or
video
fried
your
potatoes.
video is your video is pausing.
I'm audible now?
Yeah, please tell.
Yeah. So can you please define on the junk foods because by textbooks, no, we always
Okay.
think junk foods are only pizzas, burgers, and fried figures, something like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
in Indian diet, junk food is a kara shave or like muruk
Yeah.
or like bhaji or
Correct.
vada, pav. So
Exactly.
please define on that, sir. For because doctors to think about okay, no junk foods or even
Right.
patients no junk, but
Yeah.
whatever they having, this kind of a mixture. What they tell,
Sure.
please tell about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So most of the articles online, as you said, it talks about burgers and pizzas and stuff. And Indian junk foods include any foods that are high in sugars, and that includes your Diwali sweets. So please go easy on the sweets. I'm not telling you not to have sweets. Have a sweet, like don't have it with the meal. Space it 3 hours after a meal, right? So you can consume it like that, and consume very low quantities, because if you consume 1 cube of sweet, you will have to run at least 20 minutes of at a high intensity, like at RP7 or so, you have to run. So that's not worth it. You don't need to suffer that much just because you had a sweet or a cube of sweet, right? So another example of junk food is fried stuff like vada and bhaji, bonda, as you said, mixture, kara shave. So all these are examples of Indian junk foods, and even lots of white rice, unnecessary consumption of polished white rice. Too much of white rice is also junk, because most of the white rice that we have is polished, and we usually recommend unpolished rice. So that is a healthy way of eating rice, because polished rice usually has lesser vitamins and everything else, because the husk is removed. Right.
Okay. So I think there are multiple repeated questions which I'm going to ask, like which I'm not going to ask because few things we
Okay.
have covered on your presentation and few things will have asked also.
Okay.
And to end the show, please tell for the viewers how they can reach you out again. So like they want to connect with you for a fat loss journey for any doctors
Okay.
or anyone who wants to meet you.
Sure. Sure. So you can contact me with the WhatsApp number that I provided, 978 66 20348. Or if not, you can go to my website, getfitwithnats.com. So if you do that, you can access me via the email, or I also have the WhatsApp number on my website. You can contact me via email or WhatsApp at any time. So I'm always there to assist you, right?
The way I'm telling is because many would not know to whom to contact, how to get a fitness trainer, how to
Yeah.
get a very proper guidance, because nowadays we have been flooded with information on YouTube or Insta. This amount of weight loss, you pay this, you pay that. But to get a doctor as a fitness trainer, like, is very rare. And I want people to make use of you, make use of yours, like your expertise. I want people to be fit, healthy, and to lead a
Well
very
said.
healthy life, because fit body is a fit mind, and everything is fit, like, gives a very pleasant sense of living.
Yeah.
So that is why I want to emphasize here. So and thank you, sir. So it's been a great show.
Thank you.
You have emphasized a lot about fitness, and it has
Thanks a
been a
lot.
pleasure for me to hosting the show. And as
Yeah.
usual,
Pleasure
I
mine is
thank
mine. Thank you.
thank you, sir. So as usual, I thank Docplexus and the team for giving us this platform to promote the show to all the viewers, doctors around the globe. And so next time again, so hoping to meet you all with a better version of the shows for the upcoming things. Thanks once again. See you all. Thank you, sir. Take care.